This is Joe Pugh for IFLTV. We're in Manchester, Misfits, Kalle.
Coogan and Joe, first interview of the year. Does it get better than this?
And we're talking about tag teams for me and Coogan.
Yeah, that was an interesting discussion you had before. I was sort of involved on the fringe of that discussion, yeah? So,
it was Mams's idea, me and Coogan versus Fred Beck and Charlie Parson.
I think that's, as I said, I give you and Coogan the first round, and then it starts to get a bit hairy after that. I'm not too sure on the cardio.
What are you insinuating about me and Coogan, Kalle?
I'm just saying you pack a punch, but you've got to find him in the first round. You're going to have to find him in the first round. If you don't find him, it's going to be a long night.
That's 30 seconds, Kalle. Not the first round.
I'm being polite, it's 36 rounds, so,
Right. Massive card on Saturday. Not as big as you wanted it to be when it originally got announced, but happy with the outcome.
Now it's not a pay-per-view. It is on DAZN, so watch it. But, these things, look, yeah, what happened? There was a mad press conference and, obviously there was Tommy's withdrawal. And now we move on with Anthony Taylor. That's what we do. We haven't cancelled a single show of the first 20 shows of this wonderful Misfits space, and never had a cancellation. So, look, we're gonna have a right good crowd in there tomorrow night. Manchester's always a special place to do boxing.
New arena as well.
And crossover boxing. It's not traditional boxing, it's crossover boxing. But at the same time, looking very forward to seeing Daren Till in a Misfits cage, proverbially. There won't be a cage, it will be a ring tomorrow. And it's going to be very interesting.
Is the door closed on a Misfits return for Tommy Fury?
No, we have a situation we need to solve. And that's the situation that we like to do face to face. John and Tommy, we've obviously done big business with before, and we're going to have a sit down with them and see what we can do. Nonetheless,
Anthony Taylor is in the corner. Always brings great value. Is it going to be a tough fight for Darren Till?
Look, Anthony Taylor's former Bellator, former pro fighter. He's been very active. So, for Darren, he had one fight, but he's 1-0. So he's a novice. It's boxing. I think he started as a boxer as a kid, and then went obviously into MMA, UFC legend. But it's a different game, boxing. And the word on the street in Liverpool is very split. Some are telling me he's awful, and others are telling me he's fantastic. So it's right down the middle. Kinder surprise. Let's see what happens tomorrow night, live on DAZN.
With kind of...
It's intriguing. It is intriguing because you're looking at a guy who really can fight. We know he can fight in a cage. Daren Till, obviously famous for his press conferences. I mean, he's heckled me enough times on stages before from the audience. So it was nice sitting up there next to him yesterday. But he is, he's a draw. He's a big draw. I think we'll have probably 7,000 in the arena tomorrow night for January. It's not too bad, given that the main event changed. So it's going to be very interesting seeing how he takes to it.
Did you see Anthony?
He was shocked at that presser, by the way, yesterday.
I asked him about that.
Like people said, he looked like he was almost embarrassed for the other people. But I think he said, "We're right." I said, "Well, they're influencers who fight." Yeah. And so I think today he had his game face on. I know he was making weight as well yesterday, but he definitely looked like he'd landed on Mars. And I can relate to that feeling because I've been there.
2 years ago.
I've been there. Just got a bit used to it, but it is, yeah. It was a madhouse. The press conference was always yesterday, and for once, I guess he's used to sort of upstaging press conferences. For once, he was sitting there and working. Crikey, I'm not. There's no upstaging here. Today was very different.
Did you see Anthony Taylor call out Beefy Smith?
Yeah, I thought it was tongue in cheek though. I saw him talking in the foyer afterwards. I think
we got him on FaceTime once he'd left and called him a pussy. He said he's going to knock him out.
I mean, Anthony Taylor can box, but Yeah,
Maybe a step too far then,
maybe
Smith.
a step too far. You know, maybe after his traditional boxing career, Liam comes over to Misfits as well. It's never say never.
We haven't actually had a Misfits Liverpool yet.
No, but that is on the agenda for this year. So yeah, Leeds, Liverpool, I've seen on the short list. So look, massive year ahead for Misfits. It's there's a big announcement in the next day or so, potentially tomorrow night in that ring.
KSI?
KSI potentially. You know, I'm not the type to try and say watch the event on DAZN to see the big announcement. I think watch the event and watch if you're not normally into Misfits, go watch it and see how Darren Till adapts to coming to boxing. That's going to be the most interesting part from a sporting point of view. But there are some big announcements potentially tomorrow night. Sets up a huge year. But it's always, we did a show this time last year in Leeds. It was a fantastic show. Big numbers, and tomorrow night's going to smash it on the numbers as well.
3 fights this year scheduled for KSI, is that right?
You've always got to win the next fight. You always get through the next fight. So I thought there was 40 fights scheduled for him this year, but let's get through the first fight. We got to finalise and announce, and then we'll move on to the next one. But yeah, of course, as a promotional organisation of which he is the driving force behind, you have to plan ahead, and love to see him out many times this year. But let's always get past the first one.
Can you give us one clue of who the opponent will be?
Yeah, you definitely do not know who the opponent is.
I definitely don't.
Definitely not.
So we haven't spoke about it in the past?
No. But you will know who he is.
Okay.
I'm being cryptic now, aren't
See, I think I know who it is. I think I know who it is. Can I mouth it?
Yes, it's not. No.
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 That's a shame.
But good.
Good?
Good attempt.
Good attempt? Well, that's only because you told me at one point.
Nowhere near.
Just...
We've had to change it a few times. We've done a bit of manoeuvring. But this one is a shock factor on this one.
Are we going to return to Qatar this year?
Certainly on the agenda, absolutely. Was out there early in the year. But we had such a great show there. That supercard did fantastically. Went down really well, and it's an amazing place to stage. I'd like to put an event on there in the outdoor forum, that Coliseum, yes, where we did the weigh-in. So yeah.
You must be like an ambassador for Visit Qatar now.
Well, I certainly enjoy it out there. Yeah, it's a great place.
Are you gutted that you couldn't make Ben Eubank a second time?
Yeah, well, I tried it once, made it up to 3 days before the fight, and didn't quite get there. No, look, I think in boxing, I've done this for 25 years. I've inherited fighters at great times, lost some fighters at bad times, inherited some at good times. George Groves signed him a few weeks before Wembley Stadium fight. Of course, that didn't go the right way, but still we ended up creating a world champion out of George. And sometimes you look at the way boxing goes, and that's all part of the appeal. So you can't feel too much for it. I'm delighted it got made, because I think it's good for boxing to have big events. And actually, I think on a sporting level, it's better than it was 3 years ago. The gap will have shrunk, despite Ben being inactive. I can already see the comments. Yeah, but Ben hasn't fought him. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Ben hasn't fought, but he's had I think he had two tune-ups, but he's been in that gym. He's a young fighter, and let's be honest, Eubank hasn't been the most active himself. So it's going to be interesting. How's the weight now? The weight's certainly different for Eubank. Was he 30 something now? 37. 36. So
You still think Eubank wins?
I still think Eubank wins. Yeah, I still think Eubank wins. Massive fight, and I'm still going Eubank. Yeah.
Must be a little bit bitter. Come on.
Don't get better, mate. I've done it all. I put on unification.
Coogan said you get even
over many years. done it all in boxing. So when I see someone else putting on a fight, I don't get bitter. You go out and try and do something better in the future, you know. But it's for me, mate. How old are you?
21.
21. So 5 years before you were thought of, I promoted my first world championship. That's a long time ago. Yeah. So you
Seed in my dad's
without
nutsack.
making it sound boring, but I sort of, well, crikey, without going into too much detail. Fucking hell, you really put me off there. Yeah,
It's Misfits. Anything goes.
You know, in boxing, you just have to crack on. You know, and it's what more can I say? You know, but bitter is not that bitter. As anyone who knows me knows, I don't really get bitter. I used to get really bitter, but I enjoy life now, man. I built up a very successful business, sold the business, amazing with Wasserman, and currently we're creating Misfits as well. And Wasserman Boxing is got loads of rods in the fire where we can have some great champs in the next year. So it's exciting times.
Was you bitter when Arsenal beat Spurs on Wednesday?
Very bitter. When it comes to football, I get very bitter. And Coogan's standing around me making me even more bitter right now. But that's another matter. When it comes to boxing, once you've been through it so many times, the ups and downs, you've eventually, you know, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. I'll certainly be watching.
Even West Ham are above you. Great season for us. Not.
Yeah.
Reaction to Tyson Fury retiring. Cryptic comments. Retirement. Is he going to stay retired?
Yeah, you know, I think that, okay, it's fair enough to ask that he stay retired. For me, I just respect the decision. And as a fan of Tyson's, someone who's watched him, he trained at our gym in Germany. Must be 15 years ago. And I remember watching him as a young man and shadow boxing in the ring, and I just thought this guy's going to be something very special. And to watch him come through, for me, the night he beat Klitschko changed the face of heavyweight boxing. I think that is something that is very, very, very special, and people forget that part. They look at what's happening now, they look at the Wilder fights, all great, but he changed the way heavyweight boxing looked.
Thank you very much, Kalle. I know you're a man of the world. Where's the best place to go in Manchester tonight?
I would say ask Coogan Cassius.
Well,
What was the question?
where's the best place to go in Manchester on a Friday night?
My bed.
His bed. I'm not going there. Well, Kalle, thank you very much, mate.